Greetings everyone, TJB Chris here, welcoming you back to the channel and thanking you for joining me for video 3 in my Tandy series I'm calling Bigly Tandy. In this series we're walking through different application programs for the Big Tandy line of systems. That's the 8-inch line, Model 2, 12, 16, 16B, 6000. And of course, this is in celebration of the month of Tandy, in which creators all over the internet create all sorts of great content about Tandy Radio Shack computers. Tonight we're looking at a program called Banner. Banner is a non-Radio Shack program that was made available by an independent author, and I have not really played with it much, so this is going to be new for me. I basically went as far as F-copying the 3 files that were on the distribution disk over to the hard drive, which is the Fred 4 right here on my Model 16B. And we will be using the Model 16B instead of the 12. This is a Model 2 program, but doesn't even need a hard drive. But I'm going to be using the Model 16B because I've got it over here for some other work that I'm doing with it. So anyway, let's begin the commencing. And one last thing, since this is a banner making program, we'll be joined by our special guest, the Star NX1000 printer. So we'll be printing some nice dot matrix banners with all the great sounds that come with it. Alright, let's take a look at the program. Alright, I'm going to apologize if everything looks a little dim. In the last couple videos I had issues with reverse video text, so I've got the camera in manual mode to try and get the emphasis on the screen here, and I've dorked with some of the settings in the camera to make sure that we can get the exposure and everything else right. So everything else may appear a bit dim, but if you can read the screen, that's the point of this, so hopefully it works out. Okay. So there were 3 files on the disk, and they're actually the last 3 files in the disk's directory here. So the interesting thing about the startup file is that the distribution disk that was on the Model 2 archive included this file, but is not a bootable disk. If you try and boot it from the floppy drive, it'll tell you it's not a system disk. So I'm not exactly sure what it is. So rather than take some guesses at it, we're gonna list it. I'm gonna hope it gives me a couple of clues as to how the disk was set up. A for ASCII. Okay, interesting. So the startup file has a forms command. You remember I used this in my script set video. Now the interesting thing is this printer requires a CR plus LF combination, at least in its current configuration. So this does not have the A option that does that. So there's a chance this won't work right, but we can fix that. And Banner appears to be a basic program. So let's do this. Let's just issue the commands. Printer's ready. Quit. Okay. And now let's invoke it as listed in the startup file. Oops, Banner on can type. And it wants an open file. That's what the F1 option is. You need a commercial program that's a basic program. Okay, and there's forms again. Width 132 could be an issue, but we'll wait and see what the program does. P66L66C0. Okay, so I'm going to actually quit this. Alright, so this is Banner. Copyright 1984-85. All rights reserved version 1.3. Okay, here we go. Multiple users and computers require the purchase of additional programs. Yeah. Okay, let's push enter. Oh, here we go. Printer width 132, character height 12 inches, center printout on paper. Okay, so I do not want to keep the default settings. I have an 80 column printer. Center the paper between 0 and 80. Between print position 0 and 80. I think it's as centered as I can get it. Okay. 12-inch high, 6-inch high. Other heights, 8, 4, 3, 2.4, and 2. At these heights, the program will not print all the line info on the outline option. The smaller the height, the more erratic the character resolution. 4 double high, approximately 24 inches requires 2 passes. I'm going to guess, since a standard sheet of paper in an 80 column printer is close to the 8.5 by 11 size, it's not going to let me do that, right? So 2. Okay. The printout, I like the print dash out, is normally centered on the paper. All caps instructions are great. It's yelling at me, enter the amount in inches and tenths of desired printout, shift and press enter! Sorry. Down, left, shift, minus. I don't want any shift, I want it centered. So just press enter. Do I want a border? You know what? Let's not get fancy just yet. Let's, okay. I would like standard spacing, I guess. I don't know what that means. I mean, I know what it means, but I don't know how it's going to manifest itself in a printout. A banner with denser, smoother appearing characters will result by running it through your printer twice. Through, THRU, as in the New York Thruway. Do you want a double printer pass? Hell no. Enter the number of banners you want printed and press enter. Do you want a solid or outline printout of your characters? Solid, please. This is like 20 questions. Enter the data to be printed. Your data to be printed. Alright, caps lock off. And I'm just going to type TJB Chris. And that's it. We'll keep it short and sweet. Press enter. Oh, cool. It's just parsing through my string and determining the length, not including lead and trail space. Okay, press enter to continue. I'd love to know what routine is scanning for enter, because it just seems like it's not your standard $A equals in key dollar colon if $A equals nothing, same line kind of thing. Okay, let's just push enter and see what happens. Hey, we're printing. Ruh-roh. My suspicion was correct. We are not playing well. The printer's not going. I wonder if I can... The brake key. I'm sorry, I'm not on manual mode right here, so the screen might appear a little funny. Okay, we got it to stop. Alright, that's not ideal. Just open. Actually, I'll just... Yeah, that's not going to banner. So, okay, I'm going to have to work with the forms command. Now, since it asked the forms questions again when the program started, I'm going to bet there's a system command in there somewhere or something that's trying to set the printer settings. So rather than exiting basic and starting again, since the program is asking, I'm going to imagine it's going to override whatever I do in TRS-DOS. So let's see what happens. We're back, and we have the combination to the air shield. Oh, last video. Okay, so my assumption here is that the same issue I was having with scripted is happening here. But since the program, when I run it, I'm pretty sure... Yeah, see, it's asking me forms questions. Okay. Break in 12. Alright, well, we know it's going to be in the beginning of the program. Let's do list 10 to 70. And there it is, line 12. I wonder if someone added this for whichever disk got archived, because, I mean, aside from the line numbering not being in sequence, it seems a little odd given that the startup file that comes with the program has this setting in it. I guess that means I'm going to edit it here. So STM forms L equals 66A. Okay, let's give it a run. Oh, it advanced the printer hair. Alright, banner, hi John, blah blah blah, don't copy me. Okay, no, I don't want the default settings. I would like my 80 columns. We've already determined that 12 inches is per hour. Let's see what happens. No, okay, guessed right. Alright, 2. I just want it centered. Don't want a border, let's get it perfected first, and then we'll deal with borders and stuff. No borders. Life without borders is better lived. 1 standard spacing. Hell no on the double pass. I only want 1. I would like solid characters, please, thank you. And once again, we're just going to type TJB Chris. Okay, here we go. Here's our press enter. So let's grab the camera and move over there, and then we'll watch this together. Alright, moment of truth. I'm going to hit enter on the Model 16B. Right. Hey, that looks better. Oh, we have a question on the screen. Let's take a look at that. Alright, I can print additional banners with the same parameters, 1. Print additional banners with different parameters, 2. Or stop, 3. I think I'd like to do option 3, and we will take a look at what's going on. Oh, breaking 3900. Alright, let's take a look at our creation. Alright, there's our banner. It's not super dark because obviously I only did one run on it, but that's the channel you're watching. And it actually came out pretty well. It's pretty neat, honestly. The font's pretty cool. Like, this is a pretty cool program. I mean, obviously, you know, this isn't going to be print shop on the Apple II or the Tandy 1000 or anything, but if you consider the machine it's running on and when it's from, the fact that it's written in BASIC, it's a pretty cool program. I actually really like the result of this. The only thing I noted is it's not really centered on the paper, like the program implied it would be. I thought about trying to override that with the forms command, but at the same time the program goes out of its way to ask you what the width of your printer is. So I wonder, I might try for the next one just to see what happens, but now I'd be afraid to print a border around it because obviously it's gonna print off the page. So, but I think this banner might actually go up, and of course it just went on to the last page there. So I might cut the end off and actually hang this up. This will be a little artifact. Alright, it occurs to me that screwing with the forms command while the program is also trying to set the printer size is probably a recipe for disaster. So other than adding the A in, I want to run this program as it is. So I am instead going to use a smaller character size, and then we're going to see what the borders look like. So let's do that. Okay, no, I don't want these settings. I'm sure I could just change them in the code because it's basic. Other heights. Let's do 4 inches high, right? I want 4 without the inch sign. I don't like that we specified that. Enter down, left shift is a minus number. Enter the amount of inches in tenths. Let's see what this does, and maybe we'll try this. This might be the where we play with this. I do want a border this time. Height of the border. Okay, taking it. So I'm going to take that. I'm going to say I want a 1/4 inch border, okay? And I want a 1/4 inch. I'm sorry, border height 1/4 inch. I want border thickness of 1/4 inch. Standard spacing. No double pass still. I would like 1, please. Still solid because I'm only going to do the 1. I'm going to say hi YouTube, which is going to be a little longer. Oops. Okay, let's let it do its thing. Now, because the letters are smaller, it should consume less paper. Yeah, there we go. Again, this is a neat program. I'm going to print this out, and we'll see what happens, but you don't need to watch another printer run. I hear it doing something. Okay, we'll check back when it's done. While this is printing, I figured I'd show you the screen. So what it does is it's printing each letter. It did just like it did when it was estimating the length, and it just moves the cursor over and puts the letter out to the display. There it goes. There's the B. Okay, we'll see you at the end. Okay, with printing complete, it's a little interesting in that the border looks like an underline all along it. Of course, font smart is still right justified. And my luck, the border went right onto that last page there. Now, the interesting thing is there's no border on the top. You might say, hey, it printed on the platen, but it didn't. It didn't actually print any characters off the edge of the paper. And if it had, you would have seen them on the tractor feed there. So it didn't even try, and it didn't squeeze them in here, because if it did, this would have been all jumbled up. So I'm going to try one more thing. We'll do one more. I'm going to try printing my name out again with this size lettering. I'm going to use the forms command on line 12 to set the printer width to 80 characters. I want to see if that changes how it behaves. So let's do that next, and that'll be our last banner. I would like to stop, and we already know that line 12 is where our fun is. So 12 system form, actually I'm going to do this in caps because it needs it, forms L equals 66, W equals 80, A. Run. Okay. Now I imagine what you do with this is you just save it to your disk, and then you never have to do it again. That's what I would do. Okay, I do not want those. I want 80. Let's do 3 inch. Yeah, let's do 3-inch, and I'll do the 1/4-inch borders. Let's do that. So I want 3 and 3, and I want to not do that. Like I said, this is probably where if I really wanted to get crazy I could play with it, but since it says it's normally centered, I'm trying to avoid doing that. I do want to border 0.25, 0.25, still standard, still hell no to the double pass. I would like one banner. Let's see what the outline characters look like. Okay, I want 19 inches of fun. Alright, I'm going to print this and we'll see you on the other side. Alright, as we finish up, I can definitely tell you this is an interesting printout, and it didn't really come out the way I had expected, so stay tuned. Alright, you can probably barely see it. I'm at an angle because it shows up a little better. But what's interesting about this is that's not as light as you might think. It just didn't print things. Like the J here has nothing. The B, maybe if I'd gone with 4-inch characters it would have done it. What's interesting is the border's even further away, so it would have appeared in the same spot. Also interesting is that the border, I always wondered if the border was kind of taken away under the letters because the letters were interfering, but that's not the case either. But either way, I imagine like everything, this is a program of trial and error. You know, you can't develop an application around everyone's printer. Speaking of the program, why don't we take a little look at it and see just a little bit more about the listing and if there's anything fun in there we can control and if the author has any fun comments. Okay, now that I've done more dot matrix printing than I've probably done since I was 16, I'm going to stop. Alright, and let's just list this program and we can use the hold key on the keyboard to stop and see what it looks like. Alright, so first things first, of course, there's our program. The 80 didn't make any difference. Oh, I see, we just do an L print. Now the interesting thing is adding the A, I noticed this the last time I ran it too, it doesn't ask you, it just does it. So that's interesting. Anyway, it prints a line. To change the printer character used in the printout, modify the values in parentheses below. Okay. That's the solid character. Now the interesting thing about that is I wonder why the character $35 versus just putting... I mean, the nice thing about this is if you had a graphics character your printer could use, you could put it in here, and maybe that's kind of a little breadcrumb for people to do that. And that's it. Alright, so how much memory is free as far as BASIC is concerned? About 12K. Alright, let's new this. Okay, about 30K. Alright, just for the sake of comparison, if I start BASIC without... Oh, frick, that's not going to work. If I start BASIC without the clear statement and without the F1, what do I get? Another about 3K, which makes sense. Clear 2000 and the file buffer. So I think that's going to do it for banner. We printed some banners, and we're going to hang that one banner somewhere on the wall. Speaking of hanging the banner, there it is, next to this really cool Micronta clock that I got and restored. Didn't make a video out of it, but it was a project. But anyway, there we are. Printed with the TRS-80 Model 16B. Not bad. Join me next time when I'll be exploring DeskMate for Xenix on the TRS-80 Model 16. Until then, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.